The truth, however, is that BDS is struggling and Team Secret is playing with their coach. So it's not a normal day. It's anything but a normal day for either of these two rosters. And we can only wait and see whether or not BDS has finally been able to pick themselves back up and play more like their old selves.
I mean, really, if this is an on-paper game, it's a quick BDS day.
Yes, then we would have been, no offense to Team Secret,
not at all.
7-2-7-3.
As it's been said many times, when a team swaps out a player for a coach for this split, at that point the split is a bit of a write-off. You're
a damage limitation.
Yeah, you're sort of saying, look, this is going to make us all in a much sort of worse mental position. If we're still fighting this and trying to find a way to win, we're going to find those losses hurt much harder. Again, none of us were in the room when these discussions happened. None of us know the full ins and outs. We can only make assumptions based on what's happening. But the times that this happens, you have to think of what situation you're in. And then you have to look at the difference of energy from when they're winning and losing now, from when they're winning and losing before. It's not just the one player change, but it's sort of that relief of, okay, we know that we're going to be building later.
Yeah, and to some extent we also thought so for its Sandbox when they played with Nova, but there's a big difference there. Nova has played with the roster for the past 2 years, right? So
Titan has never played comp before.
Yeah, so the point is, right, some teams have a coach that have played comp, or quite literally have been in the roster as a comp player for the last 2 years, compared to the Titan, who has not been in the roster as a player for the last 2 years. He's just coming in to try and do the best he can in aiding the team. And to be fair, he's doing his best there. He's getting as much plans out as he possibly can. He's trying to stay alive, getting the kills in the meantime as well. But, you know, he also knows he's not a Shaiko, so he's not trying to play like one. And that's all you can really ask from him.
I think that's always the thing as well, is, you know, they're sort of trying to drive an objective game. They're trying to rebuild. We also don't know what else they're working on behind the scenes. We don't know anything other than what we're told, and what we're told is limited to what's on a game day. So it's that sort of expectation, and that's why we have ourselves in a position here where BDS, I mean, really, they should be at their strongest. They're playing this clash play we've seen out before.
We saw an APEC.
Yeah.
And I have to say it, I stole this for ranked, and it works out quite well. People just don't know how to deal with it, because there's no way you get behind them unless you take the drum under control. But as you can see, there's a lot of reinforcements all around. So BDS, with the Lems playing there as well, is basically stopping the only direct counter they have to Rafal, who's playing there with the Clash Shield.
Pressure coming in from underneath there, instantly getting a little bit of width here over to the top of those important stairs on the far side. Titan's going to get himself the drone here as the Clash pulls themselves further and further back. Rafal is curious about the pressure that might be coming over to the opposite side, and Secret, they're just sort of trying to hold a bit of an arm's length right now. They're setting themselves up, they're proning and probing for intel for this first.
Lems doesn't know, I think, that Yana is already this far inside of Geisha, and that might actually catch him off later on if he's not being too careful about this, because Comfy could just instantly swing through these double doors and pick up the kill, and that is most likely what will happen as well. Grenades gets tossed in, a little bit of damage done to Rafal, nothing too much, and well, that's one piece of utility gone. Now the big question is, do you want to use any more? Whilst the Kona stations are recharging, he will be overhealed in just a couple of seconds. Oh, that is a barricade, that is so dangerous. Comfy not able to respond in time, but definitely gives away his position now.
Bit of a missed moment there. They weren't quite able to get the lock in, and that's going to cause a couple of issues later on, and it puts us in that sort of sticky situation here where we want to see Secret bite a little bit more. When they were obviously up against Rogue, as it was mentioned before on Skyscraper, well, it didn't go well. They were able to cinch 2 attacks, but they were entirely flawless on the side of their defense, which made it to a quick 7-2. Hey, you know who else has fought Rogue? Is BDS. You know who else has fought Rogue on Skyscraper this season? It's BDS.
Oh!
They've both played Rogue.
Coincidence.
It was a 3-3 half either side for BDS. It went all the way into OT. Rogue cinched it out, but it shows that they have some ability on either part of this. If Rogue are that metric that we're measuring these two teams against, well, it's got to be a really good attack side here from Secret.
Rafal is just wasting so much time here, and they basically haven't made a true opening yet. They're coming in from the T room now. Comfy will find a kill eventually, and the trades are starting to come through. It's a 3-on-2 situation here. The shield is still up from Rafal, and will be a bit of a distraction point for Comfy and Sleben here, both on the same side of the map, looking to go for the exhibition, but with the jump in from the window, that might actually find the clash at the end here.
Worried about someone hopping in behind you, but at that point, they're already in front of you. As BDS, they sort of drive their way through there onto the opening hole, the opening site, and sure, it was a little bit slow on that approach there. They got themselves to Dragon, but then no further on the site.
Yeah, they managed to get in a little bit, but if you look at the time left, it was 30, 40 seconds, and then they started to push in from the T room. It seemed like they weren't quite able to get the control they wanted. They wanted to open up the office wall, but with that clash out there, the grenades not quite landing, they weren't able to get the wall opened up, and well, that's what forced them to go for a different approach, and that one was currently being watched by members of BDS, who quickly dispatched of most of them. And that leaves us with a 1-0 lead now for the French team. Fun to note, actually. Lems has won Gamers Assembly just last weekend. I'm not sure who played with him. Blast did, who's supposed to be traveling to NA for Stage 2 after he received his visa. So it was a bit of a French mixed team, and they were able to win it there.
Well, that was Fresh's reasoning. Now, don't get me wrong. You want to have a little bit of back and forth on the desk, right? You want either side of the desk to have a little bit of... Because if we were all unanimous all the time, it'd be boring. Sometimes it's more fun to be entertaining.
Wait, so he thought that...
Right. No, his reasoning, one of his reasonings why he went with the secret gamble is that all of BDS were playing in this tournament on different teams, on mixed teams. So he was sort of insinuating the idea that maybe they weren't taking this match as seriously as possible, and that could be something that bites them.
Well, I don't really think it.
Oh no! As I said, sometimes it's not about being right, but it's about being entertaining.
Yeah, yes.
That's our job at the end of the day.
Maybe they found out about weaknesses, you know, like play against each other. That might sometimes be how you find out weaknesses and will be able to improve. Who knows? Maybe this is the master plan all along. This time, however, they will be open up that wall. There is no clash this time. It's also not the side. We're in karaoke, of course, and the T room. And this will seem like they indeed want to go for a bit of a drum push together with the Dragon, as Geisha currently not really being contested by any of the secret members. And of course, I mean, Geisha, it's either that make or break, but sometimes, like, you lose too many players trying to get it. And if you didn't have it, not really that important either, sometimes.
Now, they're trying to steady their way across. As he said, Dragon was this place where things fell apart last time. It was as far as they got towards the fight on the site, and this time they're going with a little bit more width. They're putting the pressure onto that corner. The shield gets dropped, and Renshiro has to pull himself slightly further back. Still standing, and still has the chance to cause some problems over here, but Secret, they're sort of taking this on a step-by-step basis, and they've completed a couple of steps as of yet, but Renshiro has the drop, he has the capability, and he has an idea where Keenan is. He doesn't have any blood left in his body. He gets dropped. He doesn't get locked in. They can't quite find it. There it is, a very important moment for Keenan. He's able to put a lot of damage there into Playday. He's just going to smoke off the cover and, well, gets the pickup.
Playday peeks right after the smoke canister that pops and is able to at least find a bit of a trade here. Took some small amount of damage, but still is alive. That's the most important part, and has to smoke canister in pocket. Now the Geisha pressure seems to be coming down. An opening has been made, and Lems is, however, looking to go a little bit more aggressive towards it as he decides to fall back. Is, of course, playing on that Echo. He needs to stay alive to make these yokai drones come to life and give the true potential that they hold. A drone will spot him out, though, so they're well aware of his position, and grenades being tossed in from below will give at least a little bit of a, well, side of knowledge to the BDS area, because they know that, indeed, people are trying to take him out from below.
Well, here it is. The next grenade rolls up and under and doesn't quite get the full catch, but they're still going to pull themselves away. They don't want to see if they can try and stand up to the medal of the second, but Shaiko stands up against Kendrew, takes care of the Finker and pulls himself a little bit further back, or not the Finker even, the Thatcher. But, well, there's another couple. Shaiko's able to get one more for his money. The last on the stairs is biting back. Sleben slinks his way in, puts the pressure there, and pulls himself back round to the opposite side. The kit's cold, but covered in smoke. That's not going to run out in time. He has no health. They have an Echo drone. There's nowhere really he can go at this point. Caught, and zapped, and dropped, and, well, finally locked in. BDS, 2 in a row.
Secondary was afraid he would die by the smoke canister, which was still in that double door. If he would have said a little bit of a step to the left when he turned around, that could have been the lock-off a little bit earlier there. But again, BDS not really too worried, it seems, with the way it's currently going. They're just wasting that time slowly but steadily. Secret not really able to get anything truly done. I mean, Keenan got the confirm onto the alibi, took a little bit of damage from Playday, but instantly was taken out right after as well. So, besides that, did they really get in? No, not really. I mean, is the Twitch eventually that was inside a geisha that was able to pick up a kill before, of course, the smoke canister started to rain in and the round basically ended and we were waiting for the time to tick out. But BDS, so far, not challenged. They are just doing their thing. They're wasting the time that Team Secret has, and they're trying to make something happen with 30, 40, maybe 50 seconds left, and then they just run into the wall that is named BDS.
Well, the wall of BDS is formidable when it's sort of on its game, and here looks like that cool, calm, and collected controlled play, which we sort of expected. As I said, on paper, this is a BDS game. In practice, you never really know how things are going to go. Some people can have exceptional play days, but this is that sort of mantle of control that they can do on pretty much any of their good days. They just have this balance. We saw the pings, we saw the movement. They know when to pull, they know when to push, and they know when to try and play their hand. And when you've got a team like Secret that is obviously, when they're playing with Titan, they've got to talk things through as they do them. They're, you know, trying to build up to that pace and that repetition. It's something that BDS, an unchanged roster for however long, just knows, just has, and just clicks with.
The experience on them is immeasurable compared to some of the other teams. Just the amount of skill they have as well. And grenades being tossed in from below. BDS aware of that. They are being challenged. Chiro, however, not aware that he's being challenged from the window. Will lose his life to it, and yet again an entry will be found in the way of Team Secret. This is, however, where BDS suddenly are aware of multiple of the positions of those Secret members and are starting to lock those in slightly. However, the entry came quite early, a minute into the round, and with 2 left, it gives for quite some time to make something else happen, but it doesn't seem like they're aware that Shaiko is this close around the corner, and if Sleben decides to move in because they just EMP darted that drone, he will be able to find a kill to Sleben and take out that drone as a result. So a good use there of that EMP dart that is inside the bulletproof camera, just to make sure that he wasn't going to be droned out.
Well, there it is. A little bit more of a back and forth, and obviously Renshiro once again finding his name off early, but Shaiko went for broke and, well, at least got a little bit of a payday before he found himself sent out. Gomfy, he's knocking on the door of the site. It's something that, you know, BDS have kept them at bay for a long time. Secret's been able to do a lot of busy work around the site itself and been able to sort of get close, but not quite boots on the ground here. They're still working out how. They want to see if they can try and potentially find one more fight, get a bit of a cleaner entry here. They need to try and drive this, but BDS, as I said, this is that sort of time that works well into their favor. Rafale's doing the business, keeping everything cool and collected upstairs. They have that Talon shield, but now they have themselves trying to just go underneath.
Yeah, they're trying to make something happen here. They need to make something happen, and they do with taking out Playday. That is Sunny Barbecue opened up. Kendra, however, drops, and that's the diffuser now down on the ground as well. They're trying to recover it. Gomfy has it under control, but they know someone is still on those main stairs. But as the grenade gets pulled, they also know that something is coming their way. And now, this is under control. The top floor, under control of BDS. And if they do have some verticalities here, they might be able to stop this plant from happening, but it seems like they're rotating around instead.
Yeah, they got to go for the rotate here, and you've got the window. I'm not sure if it's still castled or locked in, but the angle works for Gomfy's favor. Finds Rafale. Lem's on a sliver of health because of the scrappy fight. That way's locked. Has to try and drive himself through the site, and Secret. They have it. They have a round. They have themselves taken that tertiary site, but as I said, based on the barometer of their previous performance and BDS's versus Rogue on this map, using that as flat scores, they really need more than just 2 attacks here.
Yeah, they need to at least get an even half here and show they have improved on their defensive here. As soon as they got Playday, though, in that last round, they decided to run through, and I think that's the right call. They needed to make up some ground for the earlier time they have lost, and, you know, even though you died with the diffuser in hand, it was quickly recovered. After that, they tried to go for a plant and successfully done so as well. It's just a bit of a lack of verticality that was present inside a geisha. And that might be the case due to the fact that if the attackers grab hold of geisha, which is not something too common if you were attacking the barbecue in the kitchen, you want to take that top floor control due to the amount of verticality that's available. If they suddenly have all the verticalities onto the side, there's nowhere you can play anymore. So maybe that's why they didn't make him. Not quite sure. Either way, a 2-1 currently. BDS leading. Team Secret just got around, but they're looking for more. And we're headed back towards the exhibition, and Rafal again will be on that clash. Is looking to play around that balcony yet once more, potentially to stop them from opening it up altogether. And what I want to see from Team Secret here is adaptation, because they cannot just let it wait until the last 30 seconds of a round to rotate around towards the tea room and try and go for a push there. That's never going to work. They need to find out earlier what they want to do rather than leave it up to so late.
Here, a couple of changes. They're still going to keep their defense locked in, but the attack's going for a slightly different approach. And I'm wondering if they're going to see if they can try and dedicate more of their forces towards either a full control over on the karaoke side and sweep across with a little bit more force and a little bit more pace and buy themselves more of a trade, or try and isolate the clash, try and force a play elsewhere. It seems like the hunt might go underneath here. There is a loose player, a loose thread, and there is the player that's close to the rotation onto the stairs itself. They have a bit of a stretch, a bit of a reach, and they have a prepped C4. They're hoping for something, but I'm not entirely sure what.
The last time they did this, they opened up the window. They got an impact from Zofia right underneath, which would then destroy the actual bandit wire. And that's probably what they're trying to go for here again. However, I believe this time there's a magnet on the boards. I believe it's... No, there's no one mine. What was the blue flash I saw? And either way, C4 is not going to be able to net anything. The opening will be made. The exothermic gets the opening onto VIP, just like the last time around. However, the clash seems to have been the big trouble. And as the grenades are being tossed out now, that's one caught by an ADS. If the other one doesn't land behind Rafal, he always has the opportunity, of course, to fall back and play later.
Well, Lems gets Sleben and gets that Zofia. They couldn't stop the trick, but at least stops the player from diving any further into the round, and that gives them more security underneath and gives them that vital advantage of that player body balance. Rafal in the hands of the shield as well. That's going to be something that sort of causes problems around that mechanic later on. They've got to see if they can try and drive an isolated fight, but as long as he's there, mobile and active, he's just going to be offering a buffer and support to anybody else. Renshiro gets a take there, and both seem unaware. In the meantime, Sharko's doing his business on the far side, and he's able to take another one. 6-2 he sits on the fourth round.
Keenan coming in from the tea room side in the meantime is looking to make something happen here. He's not actually using the LMG. Starting to go with the other rifle, the assault rifle that Finka carries. One that we do not very often see anymore in the current meta. Titan still on Repel, still looking to find an entry somewhere, and as the clash is now fully aware, there's a player beside the statue of the dragon as well. Shoko finds the head, however, over the shield, and that leaves it only up to Titan in a 1v5 situation, just casually. He's trying to make this not a flawless round to start off with, and potentially see if he can clutch it out. He's going to take a lot of damage here through the wall, however, only puts him down into 10 HP. And, well, a full magazine and a reinforced wall on the side. Oh, that clash is chasing him.
Yeah, that's the clash outside, and obviously they've locked the rotation door there. Rafal is here to bully, and that's 10 seconds. They're not even going to be able to get back up to the second story. I think they want to confirm the kill, so I think a player's going to jump out from underneath as well. And
go Rafal.
Oh, it's a shotgun. It's a shotgun. Oh, and that is heartbreaking for no one more so than probably Fresh on the other side of the desk. Titan is doing his best, but I guess
yeah,
not much you could do there.
No, I mean, it's a clash waiting for you. If you would have repelled it, you would have died. If you would have shown anything else, you would have died from that super shorty as well. He was so low on HP, I think a single pellet could have gunned that kill. And a 3-1 is the score now. And Karaoke and T will be back on the board here for BDS. We'll be trying to get yet another victory here on that top floor before they head back down to Barbecue for their actual attempt of winning it the first time around. Because they haven't been able to do that yet. 2 rounds left on this first half. BDS at least on 3 points already. That is basically what they have proved to need. Now looking to find a little bit more here. Push on to 4, maybe even 5, just to make the attack yourselves so much easier. Because if you, it's a big difference if you need 4 rounds or only 2. Like in a half a 6, it's going to be removing a lot of pressure from your attacks.
BDS, as you said, it's this situation now. If they get one more I mean, that really puts Secret in a tricky situation. They could have had a huge overhaul of a defensive setup on Skyscraper that we don't know about, and we start to see a bit of a shine. But it wouldn't just have to be a slight improvement. It would have to be a bigger one, because that gap is, you know, if it's anything more than one site that they've not been able to get good.
It needs to be such a massive overhaul. As LMs goes for a spawn peek here. He's not going to be able to land anything. It just goes for the barricade off. Oh, was that not the head?
It was definitely a part.
I guess not. It probably was the shoulder there, and LMs will live. We'll fight on. Secret might be a little bit upset there that they weren't quite able to get the entry kill. Now, 30 seconds in, it would have been a very early one as well.
That's it. It was a bit of a gambit, and they're able to pull themselves away. They weren't quite able to get a body from it, almost lost their own in the process. And LMs, I mean, we've seen them play on slivers of health before, but the last time was the round that, obviously, BDS lost. Secret were able to find a lock-in. Here, they're getting eyes inside the prize. They know that the player on the shield was the first one they pushed before, and they actually pushed it successfully, but then they sort of found themselves a bit stuck on what to do next. So Keenan have this time has actually opted to go onto the karaoke windows. Instead, they're trying to apply some pressure on the other side.
And there's pressure coming down from the balcony towards the black stairs. We have it here on the window as well. And they know someone is on those back stairs. A grenade's coming out. Titan is trying to get around the corner. Will fail to do so. Shaka deals a little bit of chip damage to himself as well. But this is actually going to be the call for him to hunt the sledge. A grenade pin gets pulled. He now knows that, gets the headshot as well, removes that from the board. And now he knows he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, that's Titan caught out. That's Kendrew caught out as well. And the canister has to pull himself further back. A replacement. And Keenan's going to apply the pressure there from underneath. Goes into the new place, but pulls himself far enough away. Comfy gets the kill, swings his way around the corner and takes care of Shaiko. A lot of utility and a lot of time and health burnt to do it, but they've made that transaction, and now they can see if they can swing this control back over towards the side of DJ. Playday stops the tracks of the player, leaves Kendrew once again sort of watching damage done, ticks and healths and bites and nibbles done from impact and smokes. But if they can just cover the movement of Sleben over to the opposite side, there's a bit of a tuck-in corner. He's waiting to see if he can get the swing fight. He just does. LMs gets caught out, pre-fires onto the next angle. The LMG can just keep going and going and going, but it's making sure that they have the right time to go.
And Imonti just functioning as a tank right here. The best place to take it out is, of course, if you manage to find it in the back, but there's cover there. And as he is trying to sneak in, that means a reverse plant might soon be on the board here. However, he's been spotted, and a smoke canister is still in play for Playday. He's going to try and get that in deep, because just a couple of ticks could have been enough before. I believe the adrenaline surge is still going on, and that means that as Playday gets taken out, but use the last one, the time is ticking down slowly.
That's it. There's the damage done. They bait out that smoke, cover it with their own. Renshiro's trying to get the angle. He was the first off the board the last time around, and he's one of the last two here. Renshiro finds Keenan, finds some of the cover. He's still dipping and diving and dodging, and he doesn't quite get the lock-in. They're going for the reverse plant. Sleben can't quite get the full lock-in, but they should be able to get the plant. There's a very important take against the Monty. They pull themselves back. They're just going to stick it. It's a hard wall. There's no way you can get to the angle. He has to drive through, finds the first fight. Does he have time?
Stick it.
No! Stuck, but so close.
Again, that's why you stick it. We mentioned it in the last round where it was 0-0-0-0 when the call came through. This time, it works out and you don't get picked up. If you change, if you go to that gun on that final second, you're already at a disadvantage. They know exactly where you are. So the right call made there by BDS. They got quite close. The plan did go down in the end after they managed to get some good kills in on the players of BDS. But it didn't last. We're headed back towards the barbecue and the kitchen. Round number 6. Is BDS going to be able to win it this time, though? A Secret last time just went for a plain push through that bottom floor. Didn't even bother taking the top into consideration here, and that is what won them the round. Is BDS going to be able to make more verticals this time, let's say, in Geisha, or are they going to be playing it more horizontally themselves?
Well, it was the site that Secret were able to take, and to be fair, they almost got that one just before. So close. So close is a bitter story. Here, if they're able to get one more attack, they're able to at least replicate the last time they were on Skyscraper, where it was the 7-2 that they were on the wrong side of. Then it becomes that task of can they improve on any of their defenses. To be honest, one is, and that's the big sort of challenge here. If they find themselves doing worse than they did before, that really does spell a bit of a tricky day.
Now, Rafal's been able to catch himself a nice little present already. He's going to be putting that into a good little elevated position so he can see over some parts of the map, just to provide extra piece of utility and information. BDS playing with the cardiac sensor on Pulse. Spotted something earlier on, is going to be calling that out, but doesn't quite want to extend himself too much more into the window of the kitchen, afraid, of course, of potentially being wall-banged. It seems, however, that Secret might want to go quite quickly here through the bathroom. We have 3 people stacked up on it. They're starting to open up that wall. Now it's Sleben looking to hold off rotations elsewhere. This could be just a very quick plant attempt here.
Shaka's prepping a bit of a curious position here. He wants to see if he can try and catch out Sleben, who's going to drop round and get himself locked in with the Claymore underneath. He knows that somebody's close.
You must have heard that.
Yeah.
Either way, grenades are being tossed in. BDS takes small amounts of damage. He's just continuing to give it call-outs. We'll find a bit of a gunfight there, and he's just trying to stay alive for as much as he possibly can now. Grenades are being tossed in as well, but he needs to be very careful for the long angle that has been created with the wall that had been reinforced. Shankar drops down towards the bottom floor, and this is exactly what BDS needed to do the last time. When the pressure surely was coming down for the majority on that bottom floor, they weren't quite there to respond. Keaton with an entry onto Renshiro. That is going to be a big help. That's on that top floor as well. And now, with most of the players downstairs, that top floor is free to take for the side of Secret.
Well, you see the wall get opened at the bottom of Black. They're giving themselves a little bit more width here and keeping the castle for now locked. But whether they're going to pop it in a second, it worked in their favor the last time around because it limited how they could be stopped. But it seems like, as you said, BDS have got more an awareness of the push, and they're making sure that that's going to turn into a bit of a firefight. There's the break and the breach, and there's a fight that happens over the top. Lemons gets Kendra in the meantime. Puts the kick cold. Titan finds his first for the game, and Gomfi's seeing if he can apply a little bit more pressure. Screenshot Titan killing Shaika. There's your debate that you had earlier on the desk, and there's Titan for a second. BDS falls next. He's starting to drive his way through. There's the angles and the pre-fire. The pings come through. Doesn't quite get the full connection. Is cautious of the player above the hatch, and, well, there's the proof.
Verticality is still there. The diffuser, however, is not in pockets currently for many of the Secret players, but it would not matter here as Alems flying from above is going to be dropping the attempt of it being picked up here, and that means they need to go for the take. They need to go for the horizontal control here, and his head is being exposed currently. Sleben just needs to find a way in. The drone is coming through. The pings will be given, and he will find that kill. Secret, they find their second round here on Barbecue yet once more.
2. The exact same that they were able to pull off before. Technically, BDS have done one better than their defense before, so they've had a slight improvement, but the comparisons of them fighting against Rogue, who are sitting near the top of the board, and Secret, who are sort of obviously going through it at the minute, well, it's always going to be a slightly different scale. Here's the chance to get a taste of how their attack might have changed, and I guess all eyes still, as I've said a couple times, on Secret's defense. Can they pull one? Have they been able to translate at least a sight into something that's a success? Because it takes 1 to then make it 2 when you double it down, and then suddenly if you find yourself with an extra swing sight, well, then we're cooking.
Yeah. And you said that they need to have changed it massively. I think they need to revolutionize how the sites are being held to be able to come out victorious here. Because if they, just playing the same strategy, the same setup as you did against Rogue, that's clearly not going to work. You need to bring something completely new, something that has been, well, basically taken from the mistakes that were made before and improved as a result. We cannot be too harsh on them. This is a damage limitation stage. They want to win, of course. They do not like losing, but at the same time, they're not at their full strength. And we have to keep that in mind. However, the fact that they did decide to go to Skyscraper yet once again, that does tell us that they feel confident that they might be able to take a win here against BDS, or at least points. I think that is what they're trying to set up with here. Just points to start out with, and then see what you can add to next.
Well, BDS with Thatcher on the board is going to make sure they can make quick work of the site on the opposite side, but obviously it's just your approach here. Forces the players out from the top of the VIP stairs. They've got a hot-footed all the way back to the hold itself, and gives you some other idea of how you can try and hold on to this, but it's not territory that they kept for very long. BDS is droning their way through. They're going to be able to move past the other mute jammers, which 2 sort of gone and blown, and all it took was the Thatcher on the board.
Yeah, but that's normally it with the Thatcher, right? That's why we see the operator being banned so often, because it just basically allows you to bypass any setup that the defenders could have gone for. If you use a Cade, if you use a Mew Gemmer, it's Keaton actually here with the first gunfight with the MP5K. He's not going to be able to actually land any of the shots for now, though, but at least the third BDS from quickly pushing and taking control of the drum area still has the Hot Pocket in control as well, but needs to be careful in using that because that could have destroyed the ADS when he just popped it.
Well, there's the breach now happening over towards the side of Geisha. Keenan still inside drum and has that one wall of solid between him and the Geisha side. Still Pops and still BDS and Renshiro battling against the shield that he often hid behind, but he found himself on the bad end of it before. Can the approach be something that he has a little bit more success with? They're trying to find a way through, and they do. Shaiko just swings with the LMG against Keenan there. A Finker boosts themselves back up, takes a bit of control, but Gomfi is going to step in to replace and hope he goes a little bit unchecked, or maybe he can win the next firefight. Shaiko is probably angling for it, but does he know?
I don't think he does. Actually goes for a pre-fire and manages to live, and that could be huge here. Still has 2 adrenaline surges left to get himself back up a little bit. Just use one of them, but they now know someone could still be around the drum. Doki does the other game completely. Gomfi hops onto the small roof there as the reinforcement comes through, and he's just going to try and go and hide there. Hope he goes unspotted, and he seems like he has, because Shaiko actually watching out there. They might know, they might be aware. If they are, they're definitely going to be able to find that kill. The drone is going to be confirming that.
Well, the drone goes through, and there goes Gomfi, gets the kill, gets the drop, gets out of there. Is able to find himself a bit of solid. Renshiro wasn't in the right place to react in time. The drone rolled, and he took that as a moment and hoped he wouldn't get checked on it. The breach on the wall, 10 seconds. Those aren't going to explode in time, but it's a tool you can prep for later. Slevin pops up, pops 2. There's Kendrew, and Slevin with a triple kill. Suddenly, we're starting to see a story.
He finds all 3 from the gold corner there with the MP5. Is going to be able to hide for just long enough. The time was ticking out. They weren't able to open up the wall behind him, so instead they had to push through. And probably with that one person inside, like, it seems pretty clear, you know, I'm not being challenged yet, so you can come in. And as soon as they did, that's exactly when he sprung up and was able to pick up those kills. Team Secret, they find the first defensive round on the back of, well, maybe time turning into a push needing to be made by BDS and them able to shut it down due to the lack of clearance that came through. And I think we can put that down onto Gomfi partially, because he was a bit of a pain to decide of BDS. He retook the spot after it's fallen. He then played on that little rooftop inside of the mezzanines, just hoping to not be spotted. And I'm kind of confused, because a drone drove past. I only assumed the drone could have seen him, maybe missed it, because Shaiko wasn't watching that position at that time. He wasn't watching the mezzanines, and as soon as Gomfi saw that drone, he went for the swing, gets that kill, decides to drop to stay alive. That could be a big difference maker there, because that suddenly turns into a bit of a hunt. Like, hey, someone is now offside. We don't know where player number 3 is. We need to hurry.
Well, Secret, as I said, we just need to see if you've been able to improve the site hold on one of the sites. Technically, yes, you found a successful round. Doubling it down is a story we'll see in a couple of rounds, but here could be the one that really makes this game exciting. If you're able to start to thread a couple together, if you're able to start to put a little bit of distance in on your defense, I mean, who knows where this game can go. We've seen BDS struggle sometimes when they're not quite sure how to pull apart an opponent.
For sure. Someone spotted out a drone there, though. He's looking to go for an aggressive entry onto the side of BDS, and if he finds it, well, it might translate into success a little bit later on. He has some help from his 2 magnets he has put up on the pillars, so he's looking to be challenged. Like that's his goal here. He wants to take the challenge, but he also wants to be challenged. He wants that first gunfight to revolve around him, and he's using the dragon to his, well, best opportunity here to truly angle himself into a right way. And Shaco's coming around the corner. The call will be given out by the proximity sensor here, but as Slevin struggles to take care of the drones, he will be forced back into the site.
Yeah, 2 drones roll their way through. They're getting the read on that shield and all the pressure behind it. There's at least 3 Wamai discs, and it's going to take a bit of burning here. They're going to swing a bit more rotation in. They have 4 grenades between the pockets, but Shaiko suffers as soon as he popped his head round, so it's just caution. They have to pay. Is it worth trying to find the fight directly through it? That's the option that BDS is weighing up right now. Renshiro is still going to try and place a drone into position. There's a big rotate coming through to try and apply the pressure onto the site itself. Renshiro suffers next, but there it is. Gets in the place to take care of those discs. And now they can start trying to cook this grenade and send it over the top. It goes, gets caught out, but so does the player. Shaiko gets revenge for Sleben, but Sleben at least catches out Renshiro in the mix of it. A pop of a Hot Pocket and a break and a breach onto the wall. Too late, unfortunately.
Ooh, that is unfortunate. Titan gets himself found as well as a result, and Lemons with the LMG just continues to spray down Exhibition here as well, dealing small amounts of damage towards Keen. And Kendrew still was in a spot where he could hide, but decided to fall back into a bit of a B position here, and Kendrew now being spotted out by the drone actually is going to receive a grenade very soon. It comes around the corner, it bounces a bit too far forward, and as he runs for cover, Shaiko finds his head. Again, Godfrey though, retaking the position and finding the trade kill, a very important kill to come through for the side of Secret, and as Playday now runs in for a plant, he's hoping that the cover is there on his teammates from BDS.
Well, it's sneaky, and it's big, and it's Comfy on the far side, but it's Rafal! Stacks them up in a line and tears them apart.
Comfy with the retake, important, shuts down the attack from the entire map. Then also, Playday being taken out with the planter, with that diffuser down. They shouldn't have lined up there. They should have played it a little bit more passive. But Renshiro is going to be able to find them both with the L85. That puts them onto 5-3. 2 rounds away from taking full 3 points here, BDS. And it's 3 points they desperately need. Currently 5th place. Now, if they win this, they will go up to 4th. Push G2 down 1 slot. I mean, there's always been this little bit of an org rivalry between these two. It's no longer the same lineups, of course, especially G2, who have made quite a lot of changes over the last year. But those two will be battling it out, it seems like, for that final spot at the Major, especially after LFO just managed to get that win and clear themselves from that battle just a little bit more so to truly put it in between BDS and G2.
Well, BDS, it was close, and I think that's the important thing to take away from that is kind of the work of Comfy there. Being able to keep responding, keep moving, keep biting back and putting force and
second round in a row.
Sort of showing himself exactly. And that's that sort of response that we need from Secret. As it was pointed out on the desk when they played against Rogue on this, they were a bit placid. They would sort of sit and lie in positions, and it was quite easy to get pings and get responses here. They're learning lessons. And that's that important bit, because those are the players that you said you want to see light up a little bit more.
Yeah, you want to see them respond. And what I see here is as well is Titan is playing on the Clash. Now, we saw that being played quite well by the side of BDS, and Secret unable to find a response for it. What I expect, though, is that BDS have been playing against this as well. They have played this, they know how to counter, or they should know how to, and with the air jabs being placed right now, it basically stops Titan from moving in any further. He cannot go past that point, because as soon as he does, he's just going to get jabbed towards the back of it, and as soon as that happens, well, he's going to be picked up cleanly by the side of BDS.
That's it. You can see how prepped they are. Gomfy's underneath on the roam. They're setting themselves in. It's grenades that's going to get rid of anything on the wall. They're just going to make sure that they time it well, because they've got the Thatcher as well. No tricking, no how, no player. Not close enough. Kendry pulls himself back. I don't think the grenade even popped there, probably.
Now, they do have a drone, by the way, next to the Bandit, just up on the shelf, so they're able to try and find out if there's someone out there. Seems like they indeed do. Bandit trying to rotate out. Kendrew headed towards safety, but the opening has been made, and that is basically the job of the Clash to stop from happening. Can still play, can still give away callouts like, hey, suddenly no one is on these mezzanines, no need to worry. And with the second air jet being placed, they're really trying to hold Titan back, really make sure he's not allowed to move through, because they got rid of the first one. Not quite sure how, probably an impact or something, or a C4,
no,
another explosion.
I think he walked into it.
Oh, he walked into it and managed to live. All right, well, that is fair enough. And as the second one gets put through, they really want to make sure he's not going to be able to do any or have any impact on that corner.
Well, there it is. The Clash is still able to swing round, and it stops them having that clean entrance. Renshiro and the Buck underneath is trying to cause a couple problems. You can see they've stacked themselves up underneath the VIP stairs as well. More angles, more ideas, and once again it goes down, but just up in time. Titan learnt some lessons there from the Clash afresh, and make sure that it's a fresh class here, but it's Shaiko drives through. Gomfy gets one back. He's all the way on the back side of the site itself, and finally found. Sleben trades it out, but Renshiro keeps the BDS bodies hot. It's just Renshiro, though. Sleben and Keenan with the slot back into the top on the opposite side. 40 seconds. He has so much time. A reveal on the camera. What is he going to be able to pull together here? A bit of a pop of more utilities, trying to find a vertical fight. They just need to keep themselves with a bit of a safe distance. They know where the approach is coming from. They know where the kit is as well. Down and cold on the opposite side, right on the inside of the breach. Hopped up on a table. Sleben locks it in. Secret aren't done yet.
Well played by Titan there, I have to say. I mean, BDS, they brought something to deal with the Nomad, but were unable to actually capitalize on top of it. 2 air jabs used, 2 times triggered by Titan, just spotting out to the right side. Oh, there's no one there. That means I can now run through the air jab, be blasted back into safety, and we'll be able to get back up just in time. And of course, I almost got caught off by Shaiko, who after that just decided to, you know what, we're not going to deal with this clash. We're just going to run into the side, get a crazy one-tap onto one of these players, and just move through before he got picked up. He opened up the side, unfortunately not enough for BDS to get a plant down or live on for it. And that means that Secret, now with an extra round, here it is again, replay. Absolute filth, this shot. Sees the tracers. That's the kill even in the hip fire. Didn't even have to ADS down yet. Of course, he started doing it, but it didn't come through yet, and that means that Secret is still quite close to BDS here, a 5-4, and it's still possible. A win is still on the cards here if they manage to continue doing what they're doing, but stop BDS from winning rounds now.
BDS, another one falls away from you. That's 2 different sites. That's 2 different places. Secret, that's 2 different rounds. You've been able to a 200% improvement on the last time. I don't know. I don't do maths. I'm just going to assume that's right. From 0 to 2?
Well, yes, no, but that's infinite. Like, you cannot...
It's an infinite level.
Yeah, it's infinite.
Secret, if you're listening, you've had an infinite level of improvement. Now's the time to really prove that now. BDS, they've cooled down a little bit, but there's obviously still only 1 round that separates them from cementing a point and OT, and only 2 that gets them the full 3. And again, we're looking at a game here that can really start to separate the top of the table from the bottom of the board. It's getting a little bit more bitter, a little bit more back and forth here, and a little bit more locked in stone. And, you know, sure, it's still a bit of a fight here, but this is precious points for BDS, who are knocking on the door of 4th, but not quite locked in. Alems locks out Sleben, though.
That is going to be quite a bit of a worry here. The entry frag going in the way of BDS this early on is really going to give them an opportunity to start harvesting more towards the side. And you see a drum already basically abandoned. The top of the mezzanine abandoned as well by the side of Team Secret. And as the drones continue to come through, Shaiko will take some ground as well. In the meantime, Geisha looking to be opened up as well. An early EMP used. Rafal is getting ready with the extra thermic. No one is there to stop this from happening, and that means an opening from a second area is now on the cards for BDS and will be used at this final execute. That, well, normally happens in the last 30 seconds, but BDS now have everything opened up. They can just start working towards setting themselves up for it and then choose whatever time they please to go for it.
Now, the important part of how this fell apart last time was the fight onto drum took a very long time, and BDS weren't quite locked in, which meant that when they had to try and force that plant, there was only about 10 seconds and 3 pickups on the side of the swing of gold. Here, they've got a little bit more presence, which is the combination of the word of pressure and presence, onto Geisha, which Shaiko is going to opt for. He's instead going to get some of this width, this swing, and he wants to rotate, but unfortunately he cannot.
No, will not be able to. Keenan takes a little bit more damage, and now the Hibana will be opening up onto the gold wall there. Needs to be quick, though, because that Mute Jammer is soon to be running out. Nope, there it is. Keenan will get a kill, though, and Kendrew looking to go a bit aggressive with the shotgun, but we'll find that no one is actually there and digs himself into another corner. That is not actually gold.
That's it. He's just backed onto the other side, and now they've got that opening kill. It's a trade out. Obviously, Sleben's off the board, and he was the superpower player of the previous round. Still toying with the idea of peeking the breach, and he's about to be gifted a face. And he's gifted a little bit more than that. Locks it in. The kit goes cold. It's a 3 versus 3 technically as Keenan's on the ground. But there it is. One more. Keenan's back up. Fighting fit. It's suddenly a 4 versus 2. But there's a bite back and a 2 versus 2. Onto the back of the black stairs. They tried to drive themselves all the way through. Rafal, all that's left. And he clutched out a 2 versus 1 before. But they're lined up this time with no kit and a lot more width between the players. He can't quite get the connection. We find ourselves level.
Ooh, almost managed to get the diffuser in time there, but even if that would have been just a 7-second gap for Secret to try and get in and stop that from happening. And yes, we are 5-5 level, and this could just be a very costful round.
Someone needs to try and step up and fill that void. People need to sort of have these superstar showmaker.
Yeah, you need to fill the gap that's there.
Yeah, it's the conversation about, you know, people want to see the Olympics where they have a regular person run against the athletes just to see the difference. And I'm not saying Titan is that much further behind, but there is a difference. And sometimes you need to sort of stretch your legs and try and put down a pace, because you know you're going to have a little bit of a weakness here. And credit to Sleben, especially obviously 14-6, but Gomfi's big moments have been on defense. I think most of his kills have come on these most recent rounds.
I think we have to say about Gomfi is like, okay, someone dies, right? Like, let's just say Kendrew's playing a close corner, he gets pre-fired by Shaiko. At the moment he swings back Shaiko, within that like 2 seconds before he goes back to the angle, that's when Gomfi somehow manages to sneak through, and he's like, this is my position now. I'm going to play this close corner, and we'll be able to actually get the kill instead, because they won't expect it a second time around. And that's exactly what happened twice so far. Twice he's been able to sneak into a spot of a fallen teammate, and twice he's been able to find Shaiko as a response. And that really helped them. Shaiko is the biggest fragger on BDS currently. He always has been. Like, if you look at all-time stats, he's been the only player that, I believe, dropped 100 kills every single stage last year.
Okay, well, back and forth.
I didn't know the roof was a thing here.
We keep going. It's a rally scene thing.
Yeah, I never really see this. It's a quick way to the other side of the map, I guess, but something you do barely see. Either way, Shaiko looking to go for a quick entry up to the top. They know they're in barbecue here, and they know that this round is thus extra important. It's the tertiary side. After this, Secret goes back to a side they've won before. And verticality seems to be the game, or the name of the game, that BDS wants to play with here. And as they do want to get rid of the barbed wire, and of course, that's a drone used for that. Okay, so rather uses the drone then, either the Gon 6 or the grenades. So if we see them have a lack of information later on, we know what causes it.
Now, obviously, they're trying to keep pace as well here with LFO being the team above them that was able to cinch the 3 points before BDS, who are 1 point behind. Want to make sure that that gap doesn't get any wider than it was, and getting one more round, cementing themselves, and then trying to stop Secret getting one for themselves is the big part here. Shaiko, all the pings in the world, a reveal on a player that pulls themselves further back. Do they know how close he is? They sure do now. As he pre-fires the angle, Gomfi tucks in as close as he can and hopes and waits as more drones once again find their way rolling and barreling down the stairs.
As long as the information on these players of Secret is not being given out to the rest of BDS, they are in a fine position here. They are just going to be fine at the end of it, and Keenan finds that first, finds the Lems, and Shaiko now close around the corner, and Shiro needs to be careful if they head into the gate shed. They will be blown up by a C4. Shaiko gets some pings here, but he also knows that his position might be known. He fired at LMG earlier on, and as a grenade is now being tossed around the corner, that surely will give it away. If it doesn't land it right, it's a trade kill to come through. 4-2. BDS only have 2 members left, and as Playday or Rafal will find one, at least they start bringing it back just slightly.
Now, this is the bit now. Titan is a moment to shine here. It's Sleben still on the board. They've lost Keenan and Gomfi, who have again been those continual biters. Kendrew, if I'm going to talk about players wanting to step up, he's only been able to thread a couple more kills than Titan throughout this game, and 2 of them are on the most recent defensive round. It's a slow creep. Sleben, he wants to see if he can try and push the disadvantage, but look at the timer. BDS have to try and sink this kit round onto the back. Caught out, but they make the journey. That's the important part. Sleben, he's trying to find the angle. He finds the fight of the player. Rafal has the cover. They have the plant. It's a little too late, but there it is. Titan with the swing at 2 versus 1. They have the vertical control. Are they going to opt to try and rotate their way up and try and take him from 2 different angles? There's the catch on a drone that had all the intel in the world. They're making sure he's not playing this early advantage. One up the black stairs, one up the main. They go for the fight onto Kendrew first. They got to time this together. Titan round on the back is caught out. There's Rafal with 1. There's Rafal with 2. And that is the second clutch he's pulled out.
And there we go, BDS is going to be able to lock off that 1 point at least for now. That might be more, well, important than we might realize at the end of the stage, because the fight about that 4th spot of the major is just so close. So you never know if this is the difference maker here. And I believe, will we see another timeout? No, it doesn't seem like Secret is calling it right now, but it were so close there. If only they were timed a little bit better at the very same time, or maybe a bit, like I was going to say, you know, it's probably best to send one up the main stairs and one up the back stairs, have them hit at the same time, but if one angle is being watched by the LMG, it's going to be very hard for you to lock that off. And they tried, they did their best. Unfortunately, though, another clutch on the board. And a 6-5 is the current score as we head back towards the exhibition and the office. A side that has been won before, not purely because of the clash on the board, but it did definitely play a big part. Not per se because the clash stopped them from opening up the wall, but because Titan was a big nuisance here. You can see that replay. Rafal spots out the head just a pixel. He was about to turn back because he was being pushed from the geisha double door. If he would have gone for that swing, if Titan was, and I don't believe I'm going to say this, you almost never say this, was just half a second slower, you never asked him to be slower.
No.
That would have been his kill. That would have been their round. It would have been a point on the board.
If he was a little bit slower as well, Kendry might have been in a better position to swing, because obviously Kendry's swing, Rafal had, and it looks very different in slow-mo, he had enough time to get himself set up. That gun doesn't need reloading.
It doesn't, no.
That gun keeps going, and that's that sort of risk. You've got to make sure you hit it from two sides, because you hit it from one, and he's not going to let go of the trigger, and that's the sort of point proven.
The way that BDS chose to counter the clash is off the board. There's no nomad. So the clash, Titan doesn't have to walk into these air jabs, which I was going to say before was the way how he annoyed BDS, because he basically countered their counter for him and decided to be like, you know what, I can just get blown back into safety. No worries here. It means BDS need to go for a different approach. And that approach will be from the tea room and karaoke. That way you come into the back of the clash. You force him onto the actual side as there's nothing really he can do. And after that, you can start opening up when you do have control of the drum area. Shako seems to be the first one in again. Drones around the corner will spot out a player near that shield. No, actually, there's a mute gemmer around the corner as well, so that will stop any information. 3 mute gemmers towards the karaoke side are really going to stop anything from coming through. And Slevin picks up yet another kill. The superpower player is back in it again as Keenan now drops, however. That's going to be creating an opening on the other side of the map.
Huge pressure onto that shield, huge pressure onto the players. They're going internal. They're not going to play against that clash. They're not going to play that game this time. It's the clash has to try and find a new idea, and that's going to be a little bit of the angle in the eyes towards the approach here from Drum. More drones, and this game has been continual from BDS. Just peeking out there, they know they're not going to get shot, but that allows Alems to try and swing round. If he can get some control here from the opposite side, well, they might be able to try and put some further pressure onto that clash, force them further and further back. He's gone deep. He's been able to really get himself close up to this fight. They're just going to control a little bit more of the play space, stop any of those rotates coming around. Titan takes a second, and it's just going to hold off this angle as BDS has to try and funnel from the other side.
Now just stop that door from being used here, and as he does so, Lems is looking to go for a bit of a push on, but they need to open up the wall that Playday is currently, well, in front of the VIP wall, and an EMP needs to come through, and a Slevin now gets taken out as well. That might be the end of it here. That might be what BDS needed to lock off this game, where they have been struggling quite a bit against Team Secret here, because with this wall now opening up, that is going to be a double push that could come down on Gumphy on the staircase here. Let's see if they can hold on, though.
Well, there's the grenade. Rolls right under the clash. They're able to keep themselves standing. Alem suffers on the far side, sprayed through on the bottom as they retreat their way back round. They have one body less, but they also have 15 seconds. They're going to have to try and charge their way through. The sledge is caught and held at bay. Gomfy's doing his best to stop it. They're going to try and swing round. There's a great take, and there's a cold kit. 8 seconds, and they're still slowed by a clash that's causing so many problems. Caught out and kept one player at bay. The hard charge, but BDS somehow get the connection, and BDS get the full 3 points, but only just.
Only just as time was about to be running out, and Titan did everything he could to stay alive, but the clash there was occupying the 2 players that were with him. He just tried to kite them around, use that shield to his advantage as it gets smacked, but it's not enough. And even though they did get so close here, it is BDS that comes out on top just barely with the full 3